Hey guys, around 50 to 70 million individuals have sleep problems. It is affecting an enormous number of folks. And we get questions all the time about how to deal with it. Today, I'm going to provide you 15 sleep hacks for your hygiene to make sure that you can get a good night's sleep. And if you wake up, you can get back to sleep in a very efficient way. And when you sleep, you're going to get deep and restful sleep that will be rejuvenating for the morning. Okay guys, I'm Dr. Tim with Optimize Wellness Center. Thanks for checking in for this video. I'm going to make sure to provide you all the details in just a moment. So we're going to provide you 15 sleep hacks and a few bonus items as well. Now, is there a ripple effect of these symptoms into your life? Making it through the day seems often like a struggle and you just can't wait to get home and get onto the couch. Or do you have little to no energy left for much of your social life or to be able to pursue personal interests? And there's a ripple effect also leading into a lack of joy or passion in your life. Is there post-exertional malaise, meaning that after a rigorous workout or some other kinds of exercise, you're just zapped. You have no energy whatsoever. Or do you feel unmotivated? You're struggling with depression and anxiety. Or is there some brain fog and you experience this sluggishness in your brain and cognitive performance and capacity, and you're not on top of your game in your profession and or in your personal life? Or is it possible that you have low stress resilience and are easily overwhelmed? Because of this, you lack the patience with your kids or your friends and other people in your life. Well, if you have any of these things, and if any of them have rung true, then this video is for you. Getting a good night's sleep can improve your memory, your mood, your cognitive function, and may also help prevent things like Alzheimer's disease. It helps with motivation, weight loss, and improves the quality and longevity of your life because trying to function without sleep is pretty miserable. My goal is to lay out the foundation or strategies here so that you can fall asleep, stay asleep, and fall back asleep if you happen to wake up and get good quality deep sleep. Sleep is so important for restoration and detoxification. It restocks hormones, it processes toxins, it repairs damaged tissue, it establishes your immunity, and it also eliminates the effects of stress and processes heavy emotions. There is an epidemic of sleep disorders, and many millions of individuals are being affected. Even 1 week of sleep deprivation can affect 711 different genes, and it will alter them where your gut microbiome is no longer able to properly produce adequately dopamine, serotonin, GABA, and melatonin, all of which are critical and important for other functions in our lives. Conventional medicine has little to offer. They might suggest things like stress reduction, graded exercise therapy, antidepressants, stimulants, even talk therapy, all of which may be valuable, but they may not also address the root cause. Meanwhile, they will order labs to look for signs of cancer or other pathologies known to cause chronic fatigue, and may be given the diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia or depression or other things like that, or prescribe some medication. Yet, things like sleeping pills can increase your risk of dementia by 40%. So clearly it would be important to try and make sure to identify precisely what might be causing in the root cause of your sleep challenges before we address any of these other kinds of things, which also may be relevant. So what could be the cause? Well, it could be a broken circadian rhythm. And this is where your day and night cycles are out of whack. Often too much technology-related blue light and too little natural sunlight. Or it could be an autonomic nervous system dysfunction. This is where it's going to be regulated by the vagus nerve, V-A-G-U-S, the vagus nerve, and associated with the imbalance between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system activity. Or it could be mitochondrial dysfunction, where the powerhouse of every cell in your body senses danger from lifestyle inputs and other things that could be slowing it down. Or there could be cellular defense mode. This is otherwise known as cellular danger response, where there's a perceived danger that results in the cells moving away from and energy production towards defense or the fight or flight mode and inflammation in the body. Or it could be a loss of metabolic adaptability. And this is where your body can no longer efficiently adapt to normal and healthy stressors like exercising or other kinds of stressors that we have in our daily lives that we can't mitigate or influence easily. Well, are you ready to restore your energy and move beyond chronic fatigue? Well, we need to start with improving your sleep hygiene. Sleep is ultimately a gift from the pineal gland, which is an organ way up in the top in the middle of your brain. Following proper circadian rhythm, the pineal gland secretes neurotransmitters and hormones called melatonin. And the melatonin suppresses the activity of other neurotransmitters and helps to calm the brain, in part by countering stress hormones like cortisol that are released from your adrenal glands. And as we become drowsier, the brain slowly begins to turn off our voluntary skeletal muscle systems and their functions as well. For ideal sleep, melatonin should be rising steadily as cortisol should be at its rock bottom, low at bedtime. But there's a catch. The pineal gland secretes melatonin largely in response to darkness, and our evening cortisol levels are lowest in environments with low noise. So, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks to help you to get into that state in a very efficient way. So, great sleep creates optimal brain function. So, getting a good night's sleep generates optimal brain function. It's related to your mood, your memory, your cognitive function, and can help you to avoid certain diseases. So let's talk about the daily habits, the 15 daily habits that can help you make sure that you get the best sleep that you possibly can. First of all, waking up at a regular time is really important. Ideally not varying more than a half an hour or maybe an hour at the absolute maximum from one day to the next. Spend 15 minutes every day in the morning outside in the sun, and this will reset your internal clock and it will help you to generate and start the right circadian rhythm into your body. This sunshine is ideal, but also essential to be able to set that circadian rhythm because we have photoreceptors in our skin to be able to help to make sure to signal to the body appropriately. If you absolutely need to take a nap, well then make sure if you're napping, you don't nap any later than early afternoon and only for 15 or 20 minutes. And this may be restorative for you, but if you go any longer, it might impair or alter that circadian rhythm again and making it challenging for you able to get to sleep appropriately later in the evening. Exercise is super important. We want to make sure that you're getting some sweat going in your body. Now do this in the morning or the early afternoon so that when the evening comes, you're able to get to sleep efficiently without any problems whatsoever. Aerobic exercise or HIIT exercise or other kinds of resistance training may improve your sleep quality. In addition, gentle stretching and yoga may be helpful after dinner, or even consider a walk, and this may be helpful as you're nearing bedtime to be able to ease the body going in towards your sleep routine that you should be establishing later on. Now, let's talk about caffeine. Many of us have an affection for caffeine, but it's really important that when we have that caffeine, that we only consume that caffeine earlier in the day and stopping any caffeine by early afternoon or mid-afternoon at the absolute latest. While there is some genetic variability as to how quickly we can metabolize caffeine, most individuals find that if they drink it after mid-afternoon, that they have challenges getting to sleep. So I would recommend everyone to consume all of their caffeine, if that's what you consume, earlier in the day. Dinner should be a small to medium-sized meal and at least 3 hours before you go to bed to avoid late night snacking, and alcohol will also be important to be able to get restful sleep. Then there's something called blue light. Now, light is in a spectrum, and blue is one area of that spectrum, and it comes off of things like our overhead, our fluorescent lights and LED lights and monitors and things like this. Minimizing blue light exposure as the day progresses, because it reduces your melatonin production, will be very helpful. Starting about 3 hours before bed, you want to begin limiting that exposure to the blue light. So make sure that you have your display settings on your computers, your phones, your tablets, any other kind of device like that to emit less blue light, and change it towards warmer colors. Consider wearing things like blue light blocking glasses. Now, these kinds of glasses can block that light from coming into your eyes, which will ultimately affect the pineal gland and its ability to be able to secrete that melatonin that we talked about earlier, that is so important for our ability to be able to get restful sleep. You can also dim or turn off your overhead lights or lights in your rooms to make sure that your body starts to recognize the signals of the day progressing and entering into night and the time starting to get ready for bedtime. And it's also possible to use some kind of lamp beside your bed versus an overhead light. And interestingly enough, the angle of the light in and of itself is important as it relates to how the body determines whether it's nighttime or daytime, and whether we start to edge towards sleep adequately. Nextly, in your bedroom, I want to make sure that it's completely dark. If you live in a city or anywhere where there's outside lighting, close your blinds and make sure that your drapes are blackout curtains or something that is blocking as much light as possible. And also consider those little LEDs that are on all of our electronics that may indicate that it's plugged in or it's on or doing something of that nature, and cover them with some tape so that you don't see those lights, because even the small amount of LED light is emitting blue light, and for some individuals they are very sensitive to that, and it would be ill-advised to have those on. So just cover them up. They're unnecessary when you're sleeping at night. Let's talk about drinking water. Well, of course we need to drink plenty of water throughout the day, yet we want to make sure that as we're edging to the later part of the day that we are starting to limit or mitigate the amount of water that we're drinking. So it would be wise to start drinking as much water earlier in the day as possible, but finishing your hydration about an hour or more before you go to bed. And that way, when you go to sleep, you won't have to wake up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom again. It is also recommended that you go to bed at a regular time. And this would be one of the biggest predictors of your sleep. Ideally not varying more than a half an hour from day to day, and trying to get to bed before 10 p.m. Now, studies have shown repeatedly that you get your best sleep between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. More consistently, that you can start going to bed between 9 and 9:30 and then falling asleep around 10 p.m., the better that you're going to get deep sleep. And it's going to really improve your brain function as you're powering down from 9:30 towards 10 p.m. at night and getting that sleep earlier on. So let's move to the next one. So let's talk about your bedtime ritual. So having a ritual is really important. And for some individuals, they want to include a variety of things like drinking some warm tea, like a chamomile tea, or maybe a sleepy time tea, something like this. And this can be really helpful for people to establish that ritual, and their body starts to recognize that. Brushing your teeth and then checking the doors and making sure everything's locked and ready to go. You may be listening to some meditation music, or maybe you even take some time to journal right before you go to bed so that you've concluded all of your thoughts, you've put the pen to paper, and then when you go to sleep, you don't have to be anxious about anything. Sleeping in the right temperature can also be important. Interestingly enough, studies have shown repeatedly sleeping in a cool room is really helpful to promote sleep. Ideally, it's going to be in the low 60 Fahrenheit degree range. Nextly, I want to make sure that you have clean sheets. So if your sheets are not clean, it's possible that you have lots of dander or bed mites or other kinds of things in there that may alter your capacity to be able to get good sleep. So make sure to clean those regularly and switch them out, and just make sure that you don't don't have any dust or allergens around you that might be hindering your ability to get good sleep. The next one is talking about minimizing your EMFs. These are electromagnetic frequencies. So keeping devices away from your bed would be really important. Set your phone onto airplane mode. When you're asleep, you don't want any phone calls. Turn off any kinds of devices that may have a Wi-Fi or other kinds of signaling near you so that they don't adversely affect your sleep. And then lastly, guys, sleep on your side. Interestingly enough, studies have shown repeatedly that sleeping on your side may assist your lymphatic system clearing amyloid plaques from the brain while you sleep. Now, the lymphatic system is the lymphatic system of the brain, meaning that it is essentially waste management. It's taking out the trash. And these amyloid plaques are associated with things like Alzheimer's disease and dementia. We don't want any of those. So if we sleep on our side, it improves our ability to be able to remove those things from our brain, and hence why I mentioned earlier that good sleep is going to create optimal brain function. Okay, so I mentioned that there were going to be some additional bonus hacks here, so let's talk about these. Okay, so if you're having trouble falling asleep, consider taking a hot bath about an hour or an hour and a half before you go to bed. That heat tends to work really well on the body and it starts to relax it. You could even consider putting some magnesium into that water, something like Epsom salts or magnesium flakes into the bath, and that can prove to be really relaxing of both the muscles and the nerves. If you suspect that there's anxiety or emotional issues or something else might be overly busy in your mind and creating a negative impact on your sleep, consider spending 10 or 15 minutes doing the following things. Meditate. Listen to a guided meditation or some yogic music. Consider a silent meditation. Try meditating during the day using a mantra. Or when you wake up in the middle of the night, maybe silently repeat or sing that mantra into your head, and so that you can start to promote that sleep pattern again. It will calm your anxiety and allow you to edge right back in, drift into that sleep. Consider using a gratitude journal. Now, this is where you're going to be writing down the things that you're grateful for, as well as you might also list the things that you want to make sure that you accomplish the next day. That way you've set those things aside so that when you're sleeping, you don't have to worry about them anxiously, that you might not remember them, and so then it keeps you up and you're perseverating over them. Set your intentions, and this is where you're going to be thinking about how quiet and calm and blissful your sleep is going to be, and so that you can get a good night's rest. Consider reading a book with that lamp beside your bed, and just reading an actual book with black and white pages of type and script on there. Listen to something called binaural beats. Now, these are beats that tend to use specific frequencies, and you can choose the frequencies that will help to establish a healthy sleep pattern. And if your mind is still racing, try counting from 300 to 0 backwards by threes. Getting your mind to be fixated on counting backwards by threes or sevens or some other number like that helps your mind to be focused on this pattern versus any other things that might be making you anxious and perseverating. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you're having trouble falling back to sleep, even after trying these other kinds of things, then don't get out of bed unless you absolutely must. Find a comfortable position and stay in that position as long as absolutely possible. You will find that typically you will in fact actually be able to get back to sleep. If you wake repeatedly and you sense that you don't sleep deeply, or you feel tired after 7 or 8 hours of sleep, then it might be important for you to consider talking to your doctor and rule out anything like sleep apnea, where there might be some issues around snoring or grinding your teeth or other kinds of things like that. Consider listening to pink noise while you sleep. You can find this on Google, and this is another thing that might help you as well. Also, consider utilizing some things like supplementation or essential oils. Now, I would recommend that you discuss this with your doctor, but things like nighttime rest, this is a product that happens to have a handful of different things in it, like GABA, taurine, glycine, passion flower, chamomile, skullcap, lemon balm, as well as melatonin. Or other individuals find that taking just a pure melatonin product is really helpful. Melatonin is in fact an antioxidant and really helpful for many things in our body, but also helpful in putting us into a restful state and helping to promote sleep. So let's consider some other things here, guys. Some people find that they are deficient in something called magnesium. Now, Epsom salts tend to be almost exclusively magnesium, and so taking a bath with Epsom salt or spraying magnesium oil onto our skin or using a lotion or a cream with magnesium glycinate orally can also be taken right before bed. This is both a muscle and a nerve relaxer and can help to improve the quality of your sleep. Now, the melatonin I mentioned earlier, individuals have long been known to easily be able to take anywhere between a half to 20 milligrams, and this can help to promote sleep patterns. Again, talk to your doctor to make sure to choose the right amount that's appropriate for you. Many people find this to be particularly helpful when they're traveling and they're having difficulty adjusting to new time zones, but also individuals that have difficulty sleeping in general find that melatonin or some of these other products can be really helpful to get them into sleep. Some other things to consider might be valerian root or L-theanine or tryptophan. All of these can help to promote our sleep patterns and conversions and of our hormones into sleep hormones like melatonin or serotonin and so forth, and are very helpful. Some folks like to utilize CBD. Now, in all 50 states, CBD is approved and it can improve your mood as well as pain and your sleep quality. So getting a pure CBD oil or other kinds of administrative products like a tablet can be helpful, is one other thing to consider utilizing. Also, spraying or utilizing lavender oil or cedar essential oils can be really helpful in a diffuser or on the sheets directly to help to promote that sleep. If you consistently are having challenges, some people like to use different kinds of electronics to be able to monitor their sleep patterns. And there's something called an Aura ring. And this is a ring that you would wear and it can help you to monitor your sleep patterns and get a little bit more data so that you can utilize the data to try and determine what might be causing the sleep challenges and how significant it is and what you might be able to do from there. All right, guys, of course there could be various other things going on like an improper HPA axis communication or cortisol, sugar, and insulin dysregulation or a variety of other things. And it's important to talk to your doctor if these sleep troubles persist more than just a few nights. I hope this video was really helpful for you all. If you liked it, press the like button. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can get our videos on Fridays. Share this with other individuals that you know that might be having challenges with sleep, and post your comments down below as well, and we'll make sure to address them there. Take care, guys.